It's time for Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, a podcast for people who love chickens.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Chrisie&Holly from Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. We're here, and this is episode number 190 of our podcast, where we talk about everything chicken, family, fun, and
more chickens!
More chickens. We drink a ton of coffee. I'm talking a ton, but most importantly,
we hug chickens every day.
And we kiss them too, don't forget. We brew coffee from a little coffee roaster in Houston, Texas. Bright and early coffee. Holly Ann, what kind of coffee are we brewing today?
Oh, today, because I can't get enough of it, today is the Texas cinnamon again.
The cinnamon is one of our favorites over at Bright and Early Coffee. Now, you are missing out if you're not trying this coffee. We have a code. If you want to try it, it's CWTCL 15, and you get 15% off bagged ground coffee. Go try it. It's awesome. And where else can they find this coffee?
brighthandearlycoffee.com.
And Amazon. Follow them on social media. Don't forget. Okay, so are you ready to sip some of this delicious cinnamon coffee and chat?
I am. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We have some exciting news to share from our sponsor, Grubbly Farms. They're here, new and improved, Grubbly's World Harvest.
I'm a longtime subscriber, and my flock love the healthy, nutritious treats, plus orders $40 and more ship free.
If you haven't heard, Grubbly's has a fantastic layer pellet and crumble feed. It's packed with plant and insect protein, perfect for those picky chickens and ducks.
Grubbly Farms makes food and treats for healthy pets and planet.
To support us and Grubbly Farms, use the link grubbly.co/coffee. Try it today.
If you like your flock healthy, happy, and laying lots of eggs, our friends at Nutrena have something for you. We've been hearing great things about NatureWise, but don't take our word for it. See what everyone is clucking about at NutrenaWorld.com.
Okay, so I always start this with, and how are you doing? I know how you're doing, and how are you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Never better.
Now, I'm going to break the news. Holly has COVID again.
Again.
I
don't know. Okay, so when we traveled to Iowa, we went through 3 or 4 different airports. We were on 4 different airplanes. We were giving
thousands of people.
We were giving talks in a closed building. It was a show arena, so it was a lot of people in there. Had people talking to us close up, one-on-one. Did not get COVID. Came home, went to talk to my sister for 20 minutes, and got COVID from her. And she had probably picked it up at work. So, yeehaw.
We were talking the other day, and we're like, okay, we're going to do this, and this when we record on Wednesday. And you're like, oh, I got a little summer cold, I think, from my sister. Do you still want me to come over? And I'm like, if it's just a summer cold, we're good. And then the next day, you sound like COVID warmed over. It's like, I tested positive. I'm like, wait, you're less than 3 months. Like, how can this be? It has to be a different strain. It has to be.
It must be a different strain because generally, yeah, you have immunity for 3 months. And I was feeling great. I was feeling fine. I started to have the sniffles like she did. When I visited my sister, she had the sniffles. I started to get the sniffles, told you it was probably a summer cold. That night I went to bed, woke up with chills and a raging fever. And even before I staggered out of bed the next morning and found the COVID test kit, I was pretty sure I had COVID again.
And everybody in my house was like, Aunt Holly's got it again. Yeah, that's everybody out there listening to this. Holly Ann has it again.
I dodged it for a long time. It's just that this is the second time. I mean, I went years without getting it. This is the second time this year that I've gotten it. But, the doctors say those strains are really mutating fast now. The vaccines aren't necessarily giving you full protection. And we just had 4th of July, which is kind of a super spreader event.
Yeah, so we're working remotely again, but that's okay. We're doing it. You're out there. You're doing it. And you're feeling better today than yesterday. So that's great. That's a plus.
I think those first 2 days were probably the worst of it. Fingers crossed. Right? Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
We have some stuff we have to do in person, but it's going to have to wait. So we're on the screen together, which is the second best thing.
We're zooming.
And it's hot. And actually, the good part is we're both on our own homesteads because there's a lot of stuff going on with the heat. And the heat creates a lot of extra stuff to do with the animals outside.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good that you're home, even though you're sick, and you can do that. And I can do what I need to do here. But
Pete, thank God for Pete, because Pete is doing the majority of it. You know, he's going out to refresh water and checking everybody.
Pete is feeling that heat. Pete and the heat.
Feeling the heat. It's true.
Oh, in more ways than one. He's like, Holly, you went away. You come back, you talk to your sister, and then now you're sick. Like, what the heck?
Who would have guessed that would happen? But it is what it is.
I raised my hand. No one could see it, but I raised my hand.
Well, why would you have guessed that would have happened?
I don't know. You were kind of talking about it. You were like, we can't get, I was like, you're better off than me because it's been since February that I've had it. So I was like, I thought I'd be the next one.
You were the one kept talking about you were afraid to catch COVID.
No, I was like, well, I thought you were safe at one point.
Didn't we all think I was safe? But apparently not. Because here I am back in the COVID boat. Anyway.
And on that note, if you're listening to our show and you're loving it, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a written review. We've been putting them up on our stories because we love them. Thank you so much for writing those kind words. It makes our day. It helps us grow in so many ways. The other way to help us grow is hit that subscribe button. Costs you nothing. You never miss an episode, and it really does help us out.
If you're looking for other ways to help support the show, you can tell some chicken-loving friends about us. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. You can visit our Etsy shop for t-shirts, tank tops, and logo mugs. You can become a patron of the show, patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. As always, an enormous thanks to our patrons for helping to support the show. And the other thing you can do is visit our website and our show notes, use our affiliate links and discount codes, and buy products from our sponsors.
Yay!
If you're looking for a chicken coop that's produced in a planet-friendly, sustainable way, try Nestera.
Each coop is made from highly durable, 100% recycled plastic that keeps the equivalent of up to 2,000 shampoo bottles out of a landfill.
Their clean, modern design will fit into any garden or run area and comes with an industry-beating 25-year warranty and a range of handy accessories.
Simple to put together, so quick and easy to clean, and most importantly, red mite resistant. Your chickens will love it.
Quick shipping from Nestera US.
For a 5% discount, use the affiliate link in our show notes, on our website, and on Instagram. Link in bio. Check them out today.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you like subscription boxes?
Does it have anything to do with chickens?
Of course.
Then yeah. Let me take a minute to tell you about the Chicken Love Box. If you love goodies for your chickens and you need to go to chickenlove.com.
I love the mega box. Tons of useful products for my flock and a chicken tea for me.
You can't go wrong with a chicken tea. They are so cute and so soft.
In the April box, I absolutely love the chick leg bands and the organic soap set with hen decoration.
I am loving the Chicken Spirit long sleeve tee, and those chick vitamins, they could save a chick for sure.
Boxes start at $39 a month. They ship immediately after your order, and shipping is always free.
Such a great deal. Don't wait. Get off the nest and click already. Use the code CWTCL50 for 50% off your first box of a 3-month subscription or more. That's chickenlove.com. That's chickenluv.com. Get your subscription today.
The Breed Spotlight is brought to you by McMurray Hatchery, defining quality for generations. For over a century, McMurray Hatchery has remained a trusted family-owned business working tirelessly to ensure our poultry meet the highest standards.
Whether you are an experienced enthusiast or just embarking on the journey, look to McMurray Hatchery for guaranteed quality, rare and heritage breeds, low minimums, and all the supplies you need to raise your flock. Request a free catalog today. In a world where we could have any chicken we'd want, we could have this chicken, yeah. 'Cause today we're doing it for the Breed Spotlight, yeah.
Yeah, that was inspired. Oh, I was digging that.
Hey, after doing almost 200 Breed Spotlight jingles, I got to get a little more creative here. So here we go.
I really want to hear the rest of that song. In a world where we can have any chicken we want.
Okay, so this week's Breed Spotlight is
the big, the beautiful, the Bielefelder.
and I have them now. So
I have chicken envy. I don't regret getting my Dorkings, but your Bielefelders are stunning babies, and they are definitely in my top 5 breeds that I will get in the near future.
And they're so loving. Little Jackie and Janie are everything I dreamed they would be.
If you're a regular listener, you know that Chrissy named these girls after our mothers.
Yeah.
Jackie and Janie.
It's Little Jackie and Janie. That's how it's like not Jackie, it's Little Jackie and Janie.
Little Jackie and Janie. Okay. Yes.
Yes, it's kind of like morphed into that. So actually, Little Jackie Bielefelder is the biggest, and Janie is the next, and they are trumping the Polish in the brooders.
Oh, yeah. They look like they're older than they are because they are so big, but they're absolutely beautiful.
And so sweet. So sweet.
The Bielefelder, as we have just established, is a large and beautiful Creole patterned chicken that lays a lot of eggs, has a super sweet and friendly personality, and makes a fantastic addition to any flock.
Now, the reason I got them is because I wanted another partridge style chicken, but I couldn't go and get a well summer yet. I just can't do another Gertie yet. I can't do it.
Right.
So I love their look. They're partridge with, the Creole, and they're just beautiful.
They are so beautiful. Sometimes called the Uba chicken in their native Germany, the Bielefelder Uba chicken. Yeah, that's the Uba chicken. The Bielefelder was developed in the 1970s because everything good came out of the 1970s.
The 70s, anything that was born in the 70s is superb and the best.
Awesome. Developed in the 1970s as a dual-purpose auto-sexing breed.
Another awesome point for this chicken.
Right? Exactly. While they meet all of the criteria for a heritage breed, they have not been accepted yet by the American Poultry Association.
And they need to be. They need to be.
There is a German standard, and there's a Facebook breeders group to help you breed to the German standard should you want to do so. I can't see why a bird that looks like this won't eventually be accepted by the APA. I'm pretty sure they will be.
They need to be. Since the 70s, we're coming at 50 years. We're 50 years now, so come on.
Interesting, because so many of the APA birds have probably like 100 years under their belt. And so it's really interesting to see a chicken like this gain a foothold and become a heritage breed. We're looking at this bird turn into a heritage breed.
It's an amazing heritage breed, and the auto-sexing alone is an amazing thing because there are so many people out there for regulations in their town, their country, their neighborhood, whatever, that they can't have boys. This chicken can be auto-sexed and for sure you have a girl. So, hey, it's an excellent addition to anybody's flock, to my flock. Now, they're not out there yet. They're still in the brooders.
They're not out in your runs yet.
No.
Yeah, there aren't that many auto-sexing heritage breeds. Now, Creole, if you don't know what the Creole pattern is, we'll just explain it very quickly. Creole is a color pattern that features barring over top of a black-breasted red coloring. And the Creoles can have red, chestnut, or gold accents. And a Creole bird is stunning.
Yeah, that's why I say that it reminds you of a partridge because it has all those same colors that you're going to love.
Now, these beauties were originally bred in the North Rhine-Westphalia region in the town of Bielefeld, Germany, by a man named Gerd Rolf.
Okay.
This region, if you're not familiar with geography in Germany, this region is like northwest Germany.
Okay.
What he did, now I personally, and I know you will too, I love this mix of foundation breeds. He took the French Malines, which is the big, beautiful...
The barred
bird, right?
Right.
And he crossed them with Well-Summers and Barred Rocks.
And that's the reason why I really love this chicken is the Well-Summer in there.
Right. So the auto-sexing comes from the Barred Rock, while the Creole pattern comes from those Barred Malines and the partridge-colored Well-Summers. Now, we've also seen New Hampshire mentioned as a foundation breed, but I didn't find any hard and fast evidence for that, so I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Honestly, with those three breeds as they are, the Maline, the Barred Rock, and the Well-Summer, that seems like a color perfection.
Definitely.
The gorgeous Bielefelder, I just can't think of enough superlatives. I am in love with these birds. I do regret not getting them this time around, but it's okay. I will get them in the future.
But you have two nieces over here.
Yeah, I've got Jackie and Janie. Little Jackie and Janie. The Bielefelders were first shown in Germany in 1976. And at that time, they were originally called the Deutsche Kennhund, which translates to something like the auto-sexing German.
Oh, boy.
Oh, right? Not exactly a fun name for a bird. In 1980, they were formally accepted into the German Poultry Club, which is the equivalent of our APA.
Right.
Now, that's where the breed standard comes from. Their acceptance in there, they had an acceptable breed standard. And at the same time, this was when their name was officially changed to the Bielefelder Chicken.
Right.
Bielefelder Chicken.
I mean, it's geographic. It's what people,
Right.
That's how they name. That's how they know. They want to know where the chickens come from, what their heritage is.
Right.
It's a good way to name them. Now, we want to take a look at their appearance, what they look like. The roosters are averaging about 9 pounds. It's a big boy. It's a big boy. Okay. So the hens are coming in at about between 7 and 8 pounds. Now, that's a big girl, too.
That's a big girl, yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, you have to have room for these chickens. Now, being in Germany and all the stuff, they're big and fluffy. So, you know.
I'm not surprised by these sizes given the Malines in their background because the Malines are big birds.
Now, they're going to have that large straight comb that we were talking about last week when we were doing combs and wattles, red earlobes, and they got my yellow legs, which I'm always great with the yellow legs. Now, a second color has been developed, and that's a silver. Now, can you imagine how beautiful that is?
I've not yet found photos of them, but I bet they're also equally stunning.
And they're barred also.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's go into egg laying because everybody wants to know what kind of stats we're dealing with this chicken because we're already talking them up. I mean, we want you guys to go get them for sure. So the egg laying stats are very good. Okay.
Mm-hmm. For a bird this size, it's excellent.
220 plus large brown eggs per year. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need more eggs, man. I'm
know.
serious.
I know.
Okay, so and sometimes they can have speckled eggs, which those are my favorite. I love speckled eggs.
Yes.
Just like, the Barnevelders lay those speckled eggs.
Yeah.
So now, here's another awesome thing. Everybody in a homestead should have a Bielefelder. Hence, rarely go broody. You're not dealing with broody. Now, after dealing with so much brood right now, that sounds fantastic.
So much brood. I finally, Cupcake the Barnevelder is finally off the nest. Thank goodness.
Francesca's starting to come out, my coaching, but oh my God. So I have my word. It's fantabulous. It's fantastic and fabulous together.
Yeah.
That is what this chicken is when they don't go broody.
Yes.
Now, there's several reports that they can occasionally go broody. That's with any chicken that's alive.
Right.
Seriously. Now, they also mature early and they start laying sooner than some of the heritage breeds.
Okay.
I mean, mine right now are bigger. They're like I said, they're huge compared to the Polish because I got polar opposites. I got a really slow growing Polish and this faster Bielefelder. So they're they look like giants in there. And it's just.
They look like pin cushions to me. Beautiful red gold pin cushions. You know how they lay in hen loaf position?
Yeah, so little Jackie has way more gold on her than Janie, and Janie is darker and a little smaller. So they already have a little different look to them, which that's what I love in my chickens because I want to be able to distinguish by looking at them who's who.
Yes.
Now, here's the other thing. Like we said a million times over, this bird is a gentle bird. It's great for families, good foragers, all that good stuff. And that barring from the barred rock, the Malines, is going to give them some good camo with being out. They don't have a bullseye on them like a white chicken or a gold chicken or,
But all reports,
supervised.
Supervised 100% because most reports say that they are not predator savvy. They're so busy picking their own salad and having a good time in the sun that they do not watch out for predators very well.
Right. We say this all the time. We only supervise free range. Our birds are not out on their own. Everybody has their own choice in doing what they want to do. That's fine. But with unsupervised comes a major predator problem that can arise.
Just be aware that these are not very predator savvy birds.
But they are camo, so they could hide.
Right. So that means giving them a lot of cover, brush and bushes and things to get under.
Exactly.
Idea.
Now they're pretty cold hardy because of that body mass. That's for sure.
But the combs and wattles will definitely need protection for frostbite. The bigger a comb is and the longer a wattle is, the more danger that it's going to freeze. And, freeze first. So
that's what she said.
But even though, this is a big bird and they probably would not need heat if they're in a coop that's a good size for them and they can snuggle up. But just watch your nighttime temperatures, because if it's going to go way, way, way low, you might want to put like one heat panel in there on low just to stave off frostbite.
Well, I like that they're bigger because they're going in with the Houdans and the Polish. So they're going to give some fluff in that run, in that coop in the winter. Yeah, everybody's going to be snuggling up to the Bielefelders. That's for sure.
If I were a chicken, I'd pick the Bielefelder to snuggle up with.
Yeah, definitely. Now, in 2011, the first Bielefelders were imported to our friends in the U.S. at Greenfire Farms. Love them over there.
Absolutely. They also imported unrelated bloodlines again in 2013 and 2017. And those were the foundation for the Bielefelder flocks in the U.S. The fact that they got 3 different importations of unrelated bloodlines gave the foundation for a really, really genetically strong breed.
Just a great chicken all around. We can't say anything else. Now, if you're like me and you're lucky enough to have the Bielefelder, I'm gonna put a story up and tag and mention Coffee with the Chicken ladies of my little Jackie and Janie. I want you to do the same. Show us your pictures. We're loving the pictures coming over. Keep them coming. We want to be flooded. Mention us. This bird checks all the boxes. They are family friendly. They are an excellent homestead breed, except for the not predator savviness. In all the other ways, they're fantastic layers. They're gentle. They're beautiful and unique for a chicken lady or chicken gents flock. Unless you're looking to show them, there's no real downside. And if you are looking to show them, join the group and start working towards APA recognition. Right. Go for the cause.
Right.
Okay. So we're going to say, where can you get these chickens? Because everybody wants to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, your beauties came straight from McMurray Hatchery.
Yay!
You can also get them from Greenfire. Both McMurray and Greenfire sing the praises of the Bielefelder. I mean, they love these birds, and they both offer them as chicks.
Now, when we were talking to Ginger, and Ginger's the marketing director over at McMurray Hatchery, we work very closely with her. Very first year we started working with her, she was like, Bielefelders, we need to send you Bielefelders. And now, after a few years, we're finally getting around to the Bielefelders. So she's super happy that we have them. She knows their temperament and knows what they're like. So she really wanted us to have some of these beauties.
It's another gentle giant breed and one that's a really good layer. And that's unusual.
Right. They've been friendly from day one of getting
absolutely.
them.
Get yourself
they want to be on me. They want to be all about me. And it's just, they're amazing. Can't say enough good stuff about the Bielefelders.
We did do a quick Google search. We found a few breeders in the UK and Canada. So for our listeners in the UK and Canada, if you can find a private breeder, you can probably get yourself some. You won't have trouble finding them in the US. I would just say make sure you get your order in before they sell out.
Yeah, exactly. Go over to McMurray Hatchery. You're not going to be disappointed.
Are you ready to dive into the fascinating world of backyard ducks? Look no further than Metzer Farms, your premier destination for top quality waterfowl. Whether you're a seasoned breeder or just starting out, Metzer Farms has everything you need to elevate your flock to the next level. And if you're passionate about call ducks, you're in for a treat.
Metzer Farms hatches a stunning variety of call ducks, meticulously bred for their miniature size, beauty, and calm temperament. From snowy whites to vibrant colors, each duck is a masterpiece waiting to grace your backyard. Visit metzerfarms.com today to browse their extensive selection and start your journey into the wonderful world of waterfowl. Metzer Farms, where passion meets perfection. Roosty's proudly sponsors Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. They're back with an innovative new product. You're going to want to check this out.
It's an extra large set, a 14-pound feeder in 3-gallon water with steep anti-roost lids. They're made of super durable material. You can either stand them on legs or hang them on brackets on your coop or fence. They're easy to remove and clean too. Plus, they look awesome.
We personally use Roosties and we're huge fans. So if you're raising chicks or keeping chickens, check out the Roosty store on Amazon or follow the link in our show notes.
UK chicken lovers, this one's for you. Get happy, healthy hens with ECONourish's live Calci worms. Enrichment, nutrition, and protection in one tasty, sustainable pack. Scientifically proven to support glossy feathers, strong laying and skeletal health,
protect from disease, and improve gut health and immunity. You'll also bust flock stress by stimulating natural instincts and get eco bragging rights. Visit econourish.co.uk and use the code COFFEE15 for 15% off your first order. Your chickens and the planet will hug you for it. Let's talk about this feed from our friends at Nutrena. It's called NatureWise. Jody in Texas says her girls went crazy over this feed. Carol in Tennessee has eggs rolling out of her hen house. If you're looking for a feed that has what your flock needs to be healthy, happy, and productive, that is it. And we love it when your birds are healthy, happy, and productive. So head over to NutrenaWorld.com and see what everyone's talking about. Okay, so we're ready to move on to main topic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you're going to be like, look, you said 2 weeks ago you're talking about the skin. You said last week you're talking about the skin. We have a surprise for you. We're not talking about the skin because surprise. We are changing up this week's main topic because we think it's necessary to do something. The country, most of the world that's in summer is in the middle of a heat wave for multiple weeks now with sustained temperatures of 95 plus. And we need to do a main topic that talks about heat and how to help your chickens with the heat. We just had to kick it out again. Sorry, everybody. But we want to talk protecting your chickens.
Heat wave.
With the heat.
Yeah. So a 100-degree day is dangerous for both people and poultry. We all know this. But there's also a lot of danger with a stretch of sustained hot weather, especially when the temperatures aren't going down at night, so the animals aren't having a chance to cool off.
Now, if you're on social media at all, I have to pass by a lot of stuff because it's upsetting to even see it. But yeah. A lot of people are talking about sudden death in their chickens right now because the heat is actually worse on a chicken. We were talking about this morning. Right. The heat is worse than the cold, we believe, in systemic, and they're running their systems of their body. The heat can shut them down so much faster than the cold can. So it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Yes, it is. The heat is a quick and silent killer. If you have any livestock at all, you know this. But when it comes to poultry and other animals, the heat is a quick and silent killer.
So we were talking today about basically we're treading water. Like right now, when you're having temperatures of 95 plus with humidity for a week to 2 weeks straight, you're basically just doing everything you can to keep these animals cool enough, alive, and happy enough to keep them going. So let's talk about number one thing they're going to need, and that's water. Now, water needs to be out there. It can be a great, great friend to chickens. It's number one, right? It needs to be cold and it needs to be replenished multiple times during the day, because if you have the water even in the shade with this amount of heat, it can make the water go warm, and they're not going to want to drink warm water. So I found going out once or twice to replenish all the water bowls with cold water is number one thing that you can do to help them in the immense amount of heat.
You also want to check your water dishes. If you have a water dish that is metal at all, you might want to switch it out for this period because the metal will just keep the heat in there. I mean, it will just your water will warm up faster and it will just stay warm.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about, we use the black rubber made water dishes for the chickens. It seems to work. The other thing is keeping your water in the shade as much as possible. All my water dishes have been moved from their normal spots to find the spots that in the afternoon hug the shade the most, because that's going to be your friend. Or even under the coop, one water bowl under the coop to hang out there. It will stay cool all day because I've checked it.
You can also freeze things to float in the water. Like an old single-serving water bottle, you can fill that with water, freeze it, and then float it in their dish to help it keep it cool, like a giant ice cube.
And the other thing is using the water as a portal to get things into them, which we will say are electrolytes. Right. Vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes are the most important thing right now to get into your chickens to keep them hydrated and at the best place where they can be. Now, it feels like a full-time job right now. I'm going to be honest with you. We're like treading water, man. I mean, I'm exhausted by the end of the day because it's not just do the things and then do other things. It's do the things, do more things, do more things, and do more things. And you got to be on it because stuff can happen. And I'm gonna tell you a little story about 2 days ago when I went out and Frenchie, my Houdan, was not looking good. And you have to intervene quickly because it can happen very fast, even if you do all the things. Okay, it can happen.
Right, like we said, quick and silent killer.
She's doing great now. So I mean,
great. You got her. You intervened. I've had birds have heat trouble here and there. And back to the water. Water is one of the fastest ways to help them. But we'll
go back to that part.
Right. So electrolytes. You hear electrolytes all the time. Electrolytes in your water. Electrolytes here. What exactly are electrolytes and why do they matter, especially in a heat wave? Electrolytes are essential minerals like sodium, calcium, and potassium, and they are vital to many key functions in our body and in our animals' bodies.
And they need to be balanced. When one gets out of whack, it can throw you off completely. It can make you dehydrated. It can make you dizzy. It's the same with the chickens. So you want to keep everything pretty measured. Use what's out there for you and already mixed up. Make life easier.
There's no great mystery. I mean, we have our favorites, but any mix for poultry that has electrolytes, you can use and be successful with. What happens is that when there is an electrolyte imbalance, and there's a severity level, like they can be a little off and eat and drink and be fine. But a severe electrolyte imbalance, is what can happen in the heat, can cause lack of consciousness, cardiac arrest, and other organ and system failures. It's bad.
Yeah. And dehydration can cause that imbalance or not taking in enough water and all those different things. So electrolytes are important. The other thing I want to say about electrolytes is every company gives different directions. And we get this question all the time. Please read the packaging for the company's electrolytes that you were using. They know how they're supposed to be used and use them according to the directions on the package.
If you have one that's just safe for every day and you put it in every day, another company might not be the same. They might be like, use it one day and then off the next day. So very specific.
So let's go back and circle and just say the things that are out there that can help chickens in this heat. And the number one let's go number 2 is shade. Finding them to have some shade.
The sun is wicked hot, like burn your skin in a matter of minutes, and it'll burn your poultry too.
Yeah.
The real feel in the sun compared to the real feel in the shade, the real temperatures can be significant.
It can be 10 to 15 degrees different.
It's crazy, but it's true. So the more shade, and especially deep shade, and by deep shade, we mean shade that's there all day round.
It's hard. You need a big tree. You need big trees. Right. And if you don't,
not everyone has the opportunity for big, deep shade. And if you don't, then you have to make provisions to make shade. That can be a coop where it's always dark underneath.
A shade sail, which I have had to put up since the tree fell on my run a few years ago. And shade sails work great. And I've seen a lot of people putting standing umbrellas up also. Yes. That's a good idea too. I mean, anything that you can do to give them shade is key. They need it.
Along with the shade comes that cool dirt. And they
dust bathe.
Yeah, they will dust bathe in cool dirt and they'll get that in their feathers and it really does help them to cool down. So that's another important thing.
Right. So if you dig in dirt, the ground is cooler the deeper you go. So they like to dig to get to that cool dirt, and dust bathing is one of those things that helps their body cool down. So doing that for sure. Here's one. We're like breaking the bank on produce over here. They're like, how much produce are you giving us, lady? And I'm like, don't you love it? And they're like every day getting blueberries, grapes, cucumbers, watermelon, cantaloupe. And I'm finding that they're getting it every day now, that they're kind of like, and I'm like, no, you have to eat all of this stuff because you need it.
And some of the reason for that is because things like watermelon and cantaloupe specifically are some of the best natural sources of electrolytes. So if you don't have electrolytes on hand, it's going to be hot, and you have some watermelon or cantaloupe to give your flock, that's great. but other fruits just have a lot of moisture. They're very hydrating. Grapes, berries.
Now, cucumbers are amazing, but make sure you peel them because the peel doesn't need to be on them and you don't want to, they can peck at it on its own.
You either want it peeled or whole.
Right. I mean, I cut mine into fourths, but I peel the whole thing so that the peel is off of it. And then that way there's no like anything getting into the crop and getting stuck.
Like you don't want a long peel that might not break down stuck in the crop. That's the
Exactly. Now let's go into cold mash because that's an easy thing that you can do. You can take your food and freeze it. What the moral is here is you want cold stuff going in to cool them down internally.
Right.
Definitely, that can help.
Yeah,
so
we'll just take well water. Our well water is very cold at first. We'll just take well water straight out and pour that into feed and make mash that way. You have more moisture going into them. And over the years, people saying withhold food in the heat. And I have to say, I really disagree with that. How about you?
I would never do it. I think that they need food. And I think what happened with Frenchie the other day is she is my smallest of the 3 Houdans. She is the lowest on the pecking order. So she is the thinnest of them. And I think when you don't have reserves, that's a problem.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So I think not feeding is going to set you up for more of a failure with people just falling over out there.
Right.
I think putting a bag of your feed in the freezer and then giving it cold in the morning can help. And that's cost you nothing, basically.
Right.
That type of thing. Now, fans. Gosh.
That's another one. People say the fans don't do chickens any good because chickens don't have sweat glands. And so it's true. It's not exactly evaporating moisture off their body the way it does for us, but fans keep the air moving.
It's moving out that warm, hot, sticky air.
And that definitely helps them. If they have a big comb and wattles like the Mediterraneans that acts like a heat diffuser, the fan just helps them get rid of the heat that much faster.
Yes.
Our coops in the Mid-Atlantic are like a hot box when we close them up at night. It'll be over 80 degrees in the coop when we're closing up. Those fans keep those coops so much cooler just by moving the air.
Now, the last thing is Mr. I am myself the Mr. I have broken my water bottle the other day, my misting bottle, which has really upset me. I missed the chickens myself and they hate it. But it's one of these things, cold water can be your friend. And the other thing I want to mention is standing pools just enough to have their feet in cool water.
Right.
Chickens lose heat from their feet, just like dogs that way. And if you put their feet in cool water, that's the first thing I did with Frenchie the other day.
Yes.
Was that it gets the heat out as quickly as possible. Right. And you can use a baby pool. You can use a Tupperware container or a Rubbermaid bin. It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
It doesn't. Just a shallow thing with water in it. And in fact, we're going to go into the emergency plan in a minute, but that is one of the biggest things on the emergency plan is have something that you can put cold water in to get their feet in ASAP.
I have the baby pool, but it was so hard to actually train them to go into the baby pool.
You kind of have to lift them into it sometimes.
Right. They don't want to go into it. They're like, but using that cool water to your advantage, just having them put their feet in can definitely cool them down pretty quickly. Okay. So let's go into emergency measures because even with doing everything that you need to do, it can happen, and it has happened to me.
Right.
Even if you do all the things, something can still go wrong. This isn't 100% foolproof. You don't know how every individual bird's going to react to different things.
Right.
So let's go into, you walk outside, what happened to me the other day, and you see somebody who looks to be struggling a little bit. So what do we need to do at that point?
Get them out of the heat and into the air conditioning if at all possible.
Right. That's like to, first of all, take them and get them out of the heat. And I talked about this earlier, putting them in a cool water foot bath is also another really good thing to do. And we talked about ice pack and putting cool compress on those combs and wattles. That's another really quick way to get heat to come off the body. We need to get the heat away. That's the main goal.
Our little Duclay rooster Rambo came out of the coop one morning. His coop had just And we don't have that problem this year because he gets fans and ice packs at night, but he came out of the coop in heat distress. You were on the phone with me.
I was on the phone with you. I'm always on the phone with you when all this stuff goes down because we're always on the phone. You know,
Right.
I mean, it's the way it is.
So I grabbed him and ran with him because I was scared. Ran with him into the house, immediately grabbed a bowl. We have a variety of basins and bowls that we keep just for animal use.
Right.
He grabbed a bowl, filled it with cold water straight from the well. We put him in it. We put a cold compress on his comb. And once he was holding his head up and feeling better, we syringed, or we didn't actually open his beak because we didn't want to stress him, but we dribbled electrolyte water next to his beak for him to swallow.
So that's the next thing. So you want to get them so where you can do some other emergency measures once you get past getting them out of the heat in a foot bath and cooling with the combs and wattles. And then you want to make as quickly as you can electrolyte water solution. You can get the package, you just add it to a gallon of water and start syringing some electrolyte water, cool, cold water as much as you can. And it's not funny, but I give a cold liquid meal just for, and you're laughing because you know that's what I do for everybody, right? That's like the thing I do, right? So you give some vitamins as much as you can, and you keep them as cool as you can as possible, because we've said this, the heat distress starts to shut down their body. That's right. The organs start to shut down. It's the same in people.
It can literally stop their heart.
So basically keeping them as cool as possible. And it may be, not maybe, you will have to keep them in the AC probably for 24 hours at least.
If it's a 98-degree day and you have to bring someone in and the next day is going to be 100 degrees, they probably have to stay in.
Yeah, they're going to have to stay in.
We hear a lot about chickens in a warm place going into a cold place and sustaining shock. Generally, all of our ambient temperatures don't cause that unless you're someplace with a huge discrepancy. But all the scientific research out there does show that a bird coming out of the AC, especially a bird that's had issues regulating their body temperature into the heat, can be catastrophic.
So I'll just talk from my experience of the other day. Frenchie went back out just for a little while in the shade, came back into the AC, stayed there the rest of the day, the whole night. Yesterday was the second day. She went outside for a few little walks in the grass, in the shade right with me, then right back into the AC. And that was at the coolest parts of the day, early morning, 6 a.m., and in the evening when the sun started to go down, and then back in. So she spent most of the whole day in the AC yesterday. Now, this morning, she looked even better, and it was a little bit cooler. So she went back out for the first half of the day until 2 o'clock when the heat's the worst. And then I've brought her back in. So you will have to do some continuing care until that weather breaks.
I think you have to, because we're always judging keeping a bird in or out. You don't want trouble getting them back into the flock. You don't want them to acclimate in the wrong direction. So I think there's some nuance there as far as observing your bird and trying to figure out how much heat distress they're really in. Frenchie was definitely having problems, but I feel like she wasn't really dire, if you know what I mean.
I'm out there every hour and a half, so I probably caught it very quickly because the hour and a half before that I was there spritzing everybody and misting them. She was fine.
Right.
So there was a matter of an hour and a half that when I came back out with the watermelon, that something had happened within that time. And it's key to catch it quick and to do the things. But having that container, it doesn't have to be big, just enough to get their feet in cool water it's so important to have that.
Your emergency plan can simply be run the bird to the bathroom sink where you can put 2 inches of cold water. Just know where you're going to go with them.
Right, exactly. So, and then once you know that a bird's prone to that, you kind of want to keep a closer eye on them and say, okay, last time they had trouble with this, let's see how they do. And that's like today, the coolest part of the day, she was out. Now she's back in. Tomorrow we'll do it over again so that the flock doesn't miss her. And she's not going to be in the coop overnight right now. It's just not going to be a possibility.
Right. Yeah. It's scary stuff when it gets hot like this and it stays hot. And also, if you're in a region that doesn't usually get this hot, you have to contend with that too.
Right.
They
Right.
just aren't used to this kind of heat.
And I have to say, in over 10 years, this is the first time I've had this problem.
Yeah.
And I just think it's, all within the bird themselves. If they don't have enough reserve, we're talking about earlier about feeding them versus not feeding them. I'm never going to err on the side of not feeding them. I'm always going to feed them. Always.
No, I understand why you might not want your animals to have a big, heavy meal. But generally with chickens, with poultry, it's, you fill the dishes and they nibble throughout the day.
Right.
And withholding might mean somebody who's ready to nibble won't get anything. And then their electrolyte balance is off fast.
Exactly. So we are home. Our job is our birds. They're lucky. They have us 24/7, unless we're running to the store or someplace like that. So let's go into what happens if you work and
Right.
so many people work and have birds. Let's talk about some provisions that you can leave out in the run even to help them.
So if you work away from home, one of the first things I would do is I would get really big water dishes so I could put really big frozen bottles in them.
Right. Freezing a 2-liter bottle and putting it in the water is amazing. It's going to keep it cooler longer. They need to get used to it, though. They're
do.
going to be afraid of it the first day or so, and then they'll just get used to it, and it'll keep it cooler.
So you probably want to try this before we get a heat wave.
Yep.
So you don't
Get
have
them used to it.
Yeah, right. I would say another thing, because there's always a danger of a bird going into the coop and going to lay and being in the nesting box too long. If you're in a shady spot, you can leave those nest box doors open.
And I do that with broody hens. I leave my nest box open.
The other thing is fans. Fans in your coop to move the air will help birds that are going in to use the boxes to lay or that are sitting broody.
The other thing you could do is get even the smallest form of a kiddie pool and fill it in the morning with cool water in a shady spot and train them to go in. Again, do this before there's a heat wave, but train them to walk into the pool, and that way they'll be able to cool themselves off that way. So there are a few things.
There are a few things. You could also add to your run. You could build some of those triangular structures that we've talked about for windbreaks or for places, if you're integrating, to have bullets places to go to escape.
Using the umbrellas to give more shade.
Yeah, exactly. And making sure that there's shade throughout the day is also a huge help. I mean, I'm sure if you have to work, I remember those days working away from home during a heat wave and just worrying all day about the animals.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. We hope that we helped you a little bit, but if you still have other questions or concerns, feel free to message us, to email us. We will answer to the best of our ability, and anything you need help with, we're here. And just try your best and know that even if you do your best, occasionally something's going to happen. So have an emergency plan. That's the thing that we've learned. Okay, so are we ready to move on to
Cracking the eggs?
Cracking those eggs. Now, this week, we're going with something that's really peachy.
Oh, yeah. Peach meringue pie with oatmeal crust.
A peach meringue pie. Now, that sounds good right about now.
It's so good. It is
with
so
an
good.
oatmeal crust? Okay.
Yeah. Well, having to eat gluten-free means sometimes I need to reinvent things. And when it's summer, I don't know. Like, I can roll out pastry crust all day long in the fall, but in the summer, I don't feel like rolling out a pie crust.
No, not at all.
So this is a quick oat crust. Just a couple of ingredients. It tastes really good. It goes very well with the peach and the meringue.
Right.
If you really if you've had it, you need to make a nice dessert, but you've had it. You don't even want to make the easy oatmeal crust. You can do this. You can just do the peach filling in a very well-greased baking dish with the meringue on top.
Right. It's like a crustless pie at that point.
Keep the crust all together if you feel like it. You can do that. And that is amazing with vanilla ice cream. You will need 3 egg whites for this recipe. So you'll have 3 egg yolks for another recipe, or I just usually cook them up and give them to the chickens and the dogs.
Exactly. Okay, so let's go into our ingredients that we're going to need for this. First of all, the crust. You're going to need 1 cup of quick cooking oats, 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour or gluten-free 1-to-1 flour, 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, and 1/3 of a cup of unsalted butter cut into chunks, or dairy-free butter.
You're going to combine the oats, the flour, the sugar, and the salt in a medium-sized mixing bowl. Use a pastry cutter, cut the butter into that mixture until it's crumbly. And then you're just like you would do with a graham cracker crust. Press it firmly up the bottom and sides of a lightly greased 9-inch pie pan and pop that in the fridge or freezer until you're ready.
Okay, so let me go into the ingredients of the pie itself. You're going to get 6 to 8 fresh, ripe peaches, peeled, pitted, and cut into slices. 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. You could take this down to a 1/4 cup if the peaches are very sweet. A tablespoon of cornstarch, or 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of arrowroot flour. 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. It's very flavorful. Very flavorful.
Yes. Combine all the ingredients except the peaches in a large mixing bowl and stir until they're well mixed. Add those peaches and gently stir or toss until the fruit is well coated with the sugar and spice mixture. Set that aside while you prepare the meringue.
And then for those meringue, you're going to do 3 egg whites at room temperature, 1/4 teaspoon of cream tartar, and 1/4 cup of granulated sugar.
Cream of tartar.
Tartar.
Okay, preheat your oven to 375 degrees. In a clean, medium-sized mixing bowl, you're going to beat those egg whites in the cream of tartar.
Cream of tartar.
Together until soft peaks begin to form. Gradually beat in the sugar, a tablespoon at a time, until firm and glossy peaks form. Pour all that beautiful peach pie filling into the prepared crust and top the filling with the meringue. Now, in order to stop your meringue from shrinking, you're going to use a spoon or a spatula to spread the meringue all the way around to the edges of the crust and make a seal. While you're at it, if you're feeling creative, decorative. If you're feeling decorative, you can make some swirls in the meringue or you can pipe it on there, whatever you want to do. You do you.
I like the fact that put this pie on a baking sheet because
I have learned the hard way to put pies like this on a baking sheet.
I do anything like that on a baking sheet because it messes up the oven if you don't. Seriously.
So put the pie on the baking sheet to catch drips because those drips are going to end up on your bottom of your oven or your oven burners, even worse, and burn. So baking sheet, slide it into the oven, bake for 35 to 40 minutes or until the filling is bubbling and the meringue is golden brown. Remove from the oven and allow it to fully cool before serving. There you have what we think is the perfect summer pie.
It's a great hostess pie to take somewhere or just to make for your family for dessert or just to have. I mean, it's a peach pie. Come on. It's good.
Peach and meringue.
I know, with meringue. Okay, so try it. You might like it. Let us know what you think. Send us pictures if you make it. You know we want to see them. Okay, so let's move on to retail therapy. Retail therapy. Yeah. This week's retail therapy, we're just taking it easy, man. It's in the middle of summer, and we're talking chicken jewelry because there's a lot of good chicken jewelry out there. And if you're a chicken lady, you want some chicken jewelry.
You need some chicken jewelry.
And we're just going over some of the places where you can find some good stuff. Everybody knows my favorite. I wore my Lenora Dame over to McMurray Fest. Everybody loved it. It's my favorite. Lenora Dame is one of the best places to go to find eccentric, great chunky chicken jewelry that is going to catch people's eye.
It's statement jewelry for sure. It absolutely is.
It's definitely a statement when you wear it. And it's just great stuff. So check them out over on Etsy. That's one of my picks.
I'm currently loving a company on Etsy called Tiffany Renee Jewelry, and she has dangly chicken earrings. My absolute favorites are these ones that are big, fluffy, spotted chickens.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're $30. She has some other designs as well, but I just love the big, fluffy, spotted looking chicken.
Now, what's really cool right now are the chicken danglies with the boots. They're really nice.
Cute.
So cute. There's lots of good places out there to find them. We'll have a link to a great place in our show notes that you can go to find them. The chicken danglies are really the way to go. You can get them of all different kinds. Chicken earrings are a big thing right now. Etsy has a lot of different places to find chicken earrings. I mean, you want a statement? This is a statement. Now, here's a place on Etsy. It's the Crazy Chicken Lady Charm Bracelet. Okay.
Oh, love a good charm bracelet.
It's from Busy as a Bead store. And the charms, oh my God, they're amazing. There's chickens, there's overalls, there's a hoe and gloves.
Oh.
Yeah. A cracked egg, a cooked egg, a chicken foot.
Oh, no. It is a chicken foot charm.
Yes. And it's all different charms. I might need this. It's $27.59. There's only 3 left. So if you guys go buy it before me, I'm going to be mad. But I need it. I need it. It has lots of really awesome chicken charms on here. I love it. I love that chicken foot. Oh, it has an egg carton. Can you see that? The egg carton.
I love the egg carton. That is really cute.
It's so cute. Okay. So that's out there on Etsy. There's so many different ideas out there for chicken jewelry. Oh, these look like ones you would like, Holly Ann. Boho chickens.
Oh, I do like those. They look like they're probably laser printed, maybe.
They
laser printed. Laser.
Yeah. Yeah, they're boho chicken earrings. They look like something that you would really like.
I do. I love that. Those are really cute.
Go on Etsy. Just take a 5-minute vacation from life and go on Etsy and look up chicken jewelry. You'll make yourself happy by doing this.
There are a couple of vendors on here. I don't see anyone specific that's any better than the other. But even though I don't know if they're out of style or in style, I don't even keep track of this because I've been wearing them since I was a teenager. And I'm an ankle bracelet kind of a gal. I like me a good ankle bracelet.
Okay.
There are a few sellers that have chicken anklets on Etsy.
Okay, I was going to be done, but I have to mention this because these are so cool. I actually want them. They're rooster skeleton acrylic earrings.
That's very Halloween-y.
But it just looks like you x-rayed a chicken and it's an ear.
It does look like an x-ray. I could see why that's very attractive to you. Yes.
Yes. And it's from Talon's Edge Designs. I really like these earrings. They're kind of cool. They would be cool for the fall for Halloween or just to wear. They're really cool looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're $13. The stuff's not expensive and you can be as eccentric as you want. You know what? Put out there what you love. You love chickens? Wear the chicken jewelry. It's not a bad thing to do. Just do it.
Of course, it's not a bad thing to do.
I know.
It's a good thing to do.
Okay. So should we tell everybody what we're going to be talking about next week?
Next week, we're ducking it up again. We are spotlighting the beautiful black East Indy duck.
Because there's so many people out there that just love ducks so much.
Including us. Big topic. We are joined by the delightful Christine Ellis of Dunkin' Ducks. We're talking to her all about her new book, Raising Ducks.
She is such a sweetheart.
Oh, we love Christine. Oh, cracking the egg. So we're doing Christine's favorite duck egg quiche.
Oh, yeah.
I like the sound of that. And retail therapy. Keeping the theme. We're doing duck jewelry.
Because why not? If you have ducks, you want to sport the duck jewelry. Come on.
Jewelry for the duck ladies and gents.
Oh, yeah. So what should we tell everybody to do until next week?
Hug your chickens.
Every day and kiss them too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to see more of us, please follow us on Instagram at Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. If you'd like to help us grow the podcast, please leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. Thanks for listening.